Hey D-Man, welcome back to the channel. It's me. And today, we are bringing you the top 10 things you didn't know about T-Rex, including one fact that is completely insane. So make sure to stick around to the end because we saved the best for last. And fact number 4 is absolutely crazy. Let's get into it. Number 10. T-Rex had the strongest bite of any land predator. There has never been a creature with a more powerful bite than the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's something that these guys just don't talk about enough. I mean, this thing had a massive head with a mouthful of 60 serrated teeth that it used to tear through flesh with ease. But it wasn't just the teeth. The jawbone of the T-Rex was also very thick and muscular. This, combined with the strength of its neck and shoulders, allowed it to deliver a bite force of about 6 tons of pressure. To put this into perspective, the strongest shark only produces around 4 tons of bite force. And even the mighty crocodile, which has a reputation for having a crushing bite, can only muster up around 3.5 tons of force when biting down on its prey. So rest assured, if you ever find yourself face to face with a T-Rex, there is no escaping its powerful jaws. Number 9. T-Rex may have had feathers. The idea of a T-Rex covered in feathers may seem funny, but there is evidence that these dinosaurs did have feathers. In fact, all of the species closely related to the T-Rex, such as the velociraptor, had feathers. Granted, they probably weren't fully feathered like an ostrich, but they did have some feathers. In the past, scientists used to think that the T-Rex was nothing more than a giant lizard, but recent discoveries have shown that this is not true. The truth is that the T-Rex was a bird-like dinosaur that was covered in feathers. And who knows? Maybe it was the big, scary lizard-like creature in Jurassic Park that was actually onto something. Maybe he knew he had feathers all along. We may never know. Fact 8. Those tiny arms were stronger than you think. One of the most common jokes about the T-Rex is how small its arms were. It's so funny to us now, especially after seeing it try to use them in Jurassic World. But what people don't understand is that these arms weren't just useless appendages. They were strong, muscular arms that helped the T-Rex do a lot of different things, like helping it get up or gripping onto a big piece of prey. Don't underestimate those little arms. And speaking of underestimating, people also underestimate just how scary this animal really was. Number 7. T-Rex could hear low-frequency sounds humans can't. A few years ago, researchers discovered that the T-Rex could detect movements in the ground through vibrations. These vibrations produced low-frequency sounds that were too deep for human ears to pick up. But this meant that the T-Rex could literally feel people coming from a mile away. That's why sometimes you might have heard a T-Rex roar in a movie, and then immediately after another one responds back. There's actually scientific evidence to support this theory, and it gives us a new way to understand just how sensitive the T-Rex's hearing was. Imagine if you walked outside and could feel every single footstep someone took from a mile away. You would be able to predict their every move. And that's exactly what the T-Rex could do. So, if you ever decide to sneak up on a T-Rex, keep in mind that they can sense you coming long before you even get close. Number 6. T-Rex had incredible depth perception. You've probably heard the saying, seeing is believing. Well, for the T-Rex, this was literally true. The T-Rex had eyes that faced forward, which gave it incredible depth perception. This means that it could judge distances much better than other dinosaurs. It also helped them to see objects in 3D rather than 2D. As you can imagine, this was extremely helpful when it came to hunting prey. If the T-Rex couldn't judge distances well, it would often miss when trying to bite down on a fleeing animal. But thanks to its forward-facing vision, it could see its target clearly and strike with accuracy. This made the T-Rex an even more efficient and deadly predator than it already was. So if you're ever walking through the jungle and you see a T-Rex staring at you, chances are it already knows exactly where you're going to move before you even make a move yourself. Number 5. T-Rex was faster than many think. If you've seen Jurassic Park, you'll know that the T-Rex is a slow-moving monster, and while it isn't as fast as a cheetah, it definitely wasn't the dim-witted oaf that Hollywood made it out to be. Most people believe that the T-Rex was slow and lumbering, but in reality, it was quite nimble and quick on its feet. Scientists estimate that the T-Rex could run at speeds of 12–15 miles per hour, which is around 20–25 kilometers per hour. Now, this may not sound like much, but considering that a T-Rex weighed about 9 tons, that's pretty darn fast. To put this into perspective, an average human can run at around 7 miles per hour. So if a T-Rex wanted to catch up to you, it could do so pretty quickly. So don't let your guard down just because you see a T-Rex in the distance. It may be closer to you than you think. Number 4. T-Rex was a cannibal. Okay, so here's the crazy fact we teased earlier. While researching the T-Rex, paleontologists found fossil evidence that showed that the T-Rex had a taste for cannibalism. They found bite marks on T-Rex bones that suggested that adult T-Rexes were eating smaller ones. This discovery was crazy because it showed that the T-Rex wasn't just a fearsome predator, but it was also willing to eat its own kind. Researchers aren't sure why the T-Rex engaged in cannibalism, but it could be due to food scarcity or simply because they were opportunistic predators. Either way, this is a side of the T-Rex that most people don't know about, and it shows just how brutal the prehistoric world really was. So if you ever find yourself in a group of angry T-Rexes, remember that they won't think twice about eating you, even if you're part of their own family. Number 3. T-Rex lived at the end of the dinosaur age. The T-Rex lived during the late Cretaceous period, which lasted from around 100 to 66 million years ago. The T-Rex specifically lived during the last 3 million years of this period, which means that it lived right before the extinction of the dinosaurs. This is important because it shows that the T-Rex was a relatively new species when it went extinct. In fact, it's believed that the T-Rex evolved around 68 million years ago in what is now the western United States. So the T-Rex only had a short time on Earth, but in that time it became the most feared predator of all time. And given its impressive abilities, it's easy to see why. Number 2. T-Rex constantly replaced its teeth. The T-Rex was a carnivorous dinosaur that ate nothing but meat. This meant that its teeth were constantly being worn down by the tough flesh and bone of its prey. But luckily for the T-Rex, it was able to constantly replace its teeth throughout its life. In fact, scientists have found baby T-Rex skulls that had gaps in their teeth, suggesting that they were just a few months old. So the T-Rex was basically born with a tooth factory installed in its mouth. These new teeth would grow in and replace the old ones, keeping the T-Rex sharp and ready to hunt at all times. This is one reason why the T-Rex was such an efficient predator. It always had sharp teeth to tear through its prey's flesh. Number 1. T-Rex had a surprisingly advanced brain. When you think of a dinosaur, you probably imagine a giant lizard-like creature with a small brain and a short attention span. But the T-Rex was actually smarter than you might think. In fact, it had a more advanced brain than any other giant dinosaur that has ever been discovered. The T-Rex brain was about 50% larger than the brains of other large dinosaurs, and this size alone suggests that the T-Rex was more intelligent than its peers. But the T-Rex brain was also more complex, with more folds and wrinkles than other dinosaur brains. This increased surface area allowed for more brain cells, which meant that the T-Rex had a higher capacity for learning and problem-solving. Some scientists even believe that the T-Rex could hunt in groups and make complex decisions, such as planning attacks or dividing up tasks. So don't underestimate the intelligence of the T-Rex. Just because it was a dinosaur doesn't mean it wasn't smart. Now that you know all these amazing facts about the T-Rex, which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button if you want to see more videos like this. We've got a ton of incredible content coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, if you thought T-Rex was incredible, wait until you see what we have next.